The challenges are always doing something different. When your industry is very accustomed and comfortable building in a particular way, it's always a challenge to ask them to do something differently. And there's a lot of unknowns that go with that from a cost perspective as well as an operating perspective. And it's important for professionals to be able to help them through that process and understand what the challenges might be as they try something new in the world of NECB design.
The NECB defines energy efficiency in one of two ways: as an absolute performance value and as a mechanism of compliance to demonstrate that the building itself is actually efficient. So in terms of the former, which is a performance value, NECB was set up to be a 25% improvement over the Model National Energy Code of 1997 and to have a very similar performance level to ASHRAE 90.1 2013 version, which, as most engineering firms will tell you, is a very widely accepted energy efficiency standard used largely across the United States. In addition to that, the compliance paths as an individual selection for the consultant team is important because the desire of the NECB was to be flexible in how it was going to demonstrate compliance, and therefore it does offer the choice of consultants on how they wish to demonstrate to an authority that their building is indeed energy efficient in practical terms.
Building of a new building is just the beginning of the life cycle of a building. I call it the circle of life. The first step is to build something new. The next step is to maintain it properly, and that requires operations and commissioning, understanding and knowledge for the building, for the people that are asked to maintain the building and operate it. So there's an educational component as well as an ongoing maintenance and a management and an understanding of what it is, of the energy that the building is consuming, and monitoring it to make sure that it is performing as it was expected to.
I think that's a fantastic opportunity where some people have criticized the NECB as not being explicitly pro or anti-renewable. I think it's nice to give the municipality some freedom in coming up with alternative plans as a way to demonstrate, to encourage growth in the renewable sector. The fact that it's codified language, being an energy efficiency guide, it really sets a level playing field for renewables and allows the municipalities and indeed private industries to come up and fill that gap quite effectively, I think.
Right now we don't gain all the benefits or the values that solar delivers. We deliver typically, summertime. We're getting into a summertime air conditioner peak in Alberta. We don't get credit for delivering at that peak time when we're only getting the retail rate. Our power prices can be significantly higher than retail rate at that time of day, that time of year when we can deliver that energy. So most builders don't think about roof orientation when they're building houses, so it's kind of an important thing. Ideally, we'd have a perfect 12-12 pitch south-facing roof with no obstructions. We can go southeast to southwest without a huge penalty in energy generation. So it's things like that on commercial buildings, trying to, again, orient the roof to the south if we can, and also avoiding a lot of obstructions in the roof, so making large areas available for solar. As we get into smaller and smaller sections of roof, it gets more expensive. Right now, the building integrated systems tend to be fairly expensive. If we're looking at cladding type materials that have solar incorporated into them, they tend to be a custom product rather than a commodity type solar module, which when you're getting into the commodity solar modules, the cost is significantly lower than a custom module to fit into a certain space on the side of a building. So I don't see a huge growth unless there's a huge technological change for building integrated products. We can do awnings with conventional modules, and that works well. Again, the costs of attaching it to the side of the building can be significant. So looking at flat roofs, sloped roofs, as the cheapest solution. Beyond that, getting into district solar systems or off-site solar generation such as community solar. We're developing a community solar project right now where a lot of customers aren't able to put solar on their building. Either they're in a condo and there's no roof space, or they can't make an attachment to the building. So they can buy into a solar project off-site somewhere. it'll be far cheaper than trying to do an expensive building or integrated solar system on their own building.
I think the thing I would be most proud of with respect to NECB and decentralized energy that Calgary is doing is we're playing a real leadership role in helping to establish the requirements for the rest of the province in terms of how one demonstrates compliance. I think as Calgary and Edmonton as the largest municipalities in Alberta, we really do owe that to our smaller, neighboring communities to say, this is a compliance methodology that you might want to consider, and provide them the resources where they don't probably have the ability, the expertise to demonstrate compliance effectively by themselves.
Williams Engineering thinks that energy consumption and energy performance of buildings is incredibly important. And it is a responsibility as part of the design community to provide leadership for the people and our clients that are intending to build new infrastructure in Alberta and across Canada.